Alright, guys, here we are with a couple of the guys from the blog. We got Art Nomad, Abuse Puppy, Jumbela, Sir Biscuit, Roland, and myself. If you guys want to say hello.
Not really.
No, I'm good.
I'd have to be
We're
an
actually opposed to hello.
Well,
I'm
thank you,
everyone
Peanut
knows
Gallery.
me.
Alright, well, we're here to talk about a few things for 6th edition, and Biscuit wants to plug himself, so we'll let him do that now.
Oh, yeah.
Of
So
course.
I wrote missions for Feast of Blades, the qualifiers of which are all through next month as well as August. And you should play. It's a really good time. The qualifiers are 3 missions, battle points, because we have no idea how many people will show up to your FLGS. If you haven't... If you don't have a store near you that's doing a Feast of Blades qualifier, you can still make them do it. Just have them email feastofblades@gmail.com. We'll all work it out. We got a good team that does that kind of stuff. And if you win your qualifier, the top 2 in every qualifier get invited to the finals, which is a convention at the end of October, which should be a lot of fun. You know, a few hundred people. We have an insane amount of prize support going into this thing. Like, I know just not even as a prize you win, we just have 3 fully painted 2,000 point armies we're just giving away. So, should be a lot of fun. Good for everyone. And, go away, Kirby. I'll talk as long as I want.
I didn't say
And
anything.
that's all I have to say anyway, though. So now I just
Come to Feast
want
of Blades,
to
meet Chumby.
Yeah, come to Feast of Blades and beat
Yeah.
Chumby.
Meet internet people from America only.
Meet and
That's
beat.
true. You can meet me, and you can just make fun of like all of my projects,
Or lack of projects.
things I try to do.
Hard.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, thank you for that, Biscuit. I guess now we're going to talk about some 6th edition topics. What were some major things that we wanted to discuss?
You're the one with the list.
Spooky Forest?
I'm trying to, be spontaneous here, guys.
I think
Such
Spooky
a
Forest is
Spontaneity
very
rarely works out well.
Sorry, what,
All
Sean?
right. So let's start with movement. Something I wanted to talk about was really to change the disembarkation, and not just that you can't assault out of them now, but like you can't get out moving over 12, and you can't score from inside the vehicle, and really how that's going to change how you approach objectives just across the field.
Well, not just that as well, but I guess board control. I mean, yesterday in Biscuits in our game, simply being able to throw fearless units at you in your back corner pretty much neutered your ability to advance forward.
Yeah, and especially just having to only move 6 and then get out of the car to like try to get on an objective made me feel like you have to kind of grab them earlier, or at least get much closer earlier.
Yeah.
I think it requires a lot more planning, because I know when I played the other day, the whole 6-inch jump out and then not being able to assault definitely fucked me over, because I moved up a lot earlier, and then when I jumped out, my buddy just kind of sat there and like, you realize you're stuck there sitting and you got to be assaulted and shot at now. And I wasn't going to
Well, what it really hampers is getting into enemies' lines early on turn 2, because you can no longer move up 12 inches, next turn hop out, and you're right in your enemy's face and assault.
Yeah.
So you can no longer do that. But at the same time, I guess with being able to go flat out in the shooting phase as well, they didn't want people running their rhinos up 18 inches, then next turn going, haha, Rhino Rush is back, remember that?
Yeah.
Something I've
Yeah.
done a big deal is the just the fact that tanks in general, they don't have that sense of I'm going to be in your face and there's nothing you can do about it because I'm getting hit on 6s all the time. Tanks are really vulnerable to close assault from pretty much everything now.
Yeah, that they can be torrented down now, which is probably a lot better. I mean, your tanks at the
So
back,
easily.
yeah, the tanks at the
Even
back are going to
guardsmen
survive.
can punch a rhino to death or grenade it to death. Whatever.
Yeah, well, crack grenades
like
are a lot
pretty
more
easily.
serious threat, obviously.
I feel an awful lot of the changes, like they realise that they've made an awful lot of the kind of mainstay units of the game faster, so they've added things like that you can't assault out of transports and stuff like Overwatch to make up for the fact that stuff is going to be getting to your shooty units faster. So I don't know.
Stuff
I-
that makes the vehicle go
faster.
18 inches in the turn.
I think a lot of stuff is faster, but you're going to have to be setting everything up a turn ahead of time, like with
Mhm.
transports, because you're only moving like an inch or 2 less out of most transports compared to, drive 12 and disembark, but you have to set it up the turn ahead of time if you want to do an assault.
Oh yeah, but things like Orcs, Necrons, Dark Eldar move scarily fast and still get to assault.
That's true.
Dark Eldar took a big hit to their movement and assault speeds. They're assaulting a good 4 inches less.
Ready?
Because
Okay.
used to be you could move 12, disembark 3, fleet, and then charge. Even with your reroll from fleet, your total charge distance out of a open-top transport is significantly shorter now.
I think
And that's not
it's a
even
max
to
of
assume
18,
your
isn't it?
maximum. That's like your average distances.
I think Fleet also screwed over NIDS as well, because I know when I was talking to my buddy about it, and he wasn't realizing that if you got Fleet, you can only re-roll the run or the charge move, but you still can't charge after running. It's
Fleet
definitely
lets you re-roll 1 or both of the dice on your charge move, which is huge. If you
Huge.
roll a
What
1 and
is
a
that?
5, you keep the 5.
Yeah, it's more consistent, but your maximum charge distances aren't what they used to be.
exactly.
You know, they're similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's also a big hit to threat ranges for the
But-
melta bunkers that Guard run around with.
yeah, I think infantry
Yeah.
melta bunkers in those type of vehicles will see less use. I think
Yeah.
melta platforms are going to be better now on attack bikes, land speeders, dreadnoughts, anything that can have multi-melta move fast. And I think
Yeah.
we'll be
Two
seeing.
speeder can move a foot and fire both.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure we'll see more plasma weapons and things like that on infantry. I mean, Melta on infantry is still viable. Look at Assault Marines; they're still going, or Blood Angel Assault Marines, they'll still be doing that. But
I'm actually kind of wondering if
Some,
like
but
all kind of assault marines, bikes, anything that can really move fast is going to become more popular because that's your only good assault option for actually getting to the enemy.
yeah,
Like you can't really do a big gray hunters like all in anymore. It just doesn't really work because
It's
you have to spend
more-
an extra turn getting out, standing there.
it's more of a full game tactic, I guess. You know, you move up turn 1, turn 2, you dump all your Grey Hunters in the middle, and you're like, either push me off, or I'm going to come and push you off.
Mm-hmm.
Rather
I mean,
than,
yeah,
hey,
I
look,
think
I'm in your
seeing
face, and
large
I'm going to
numbers of
assault you.
infantry is going to happen more.
Yeah.
Some people definitely got
Necrons, Space Wolves, Guard, etc. can just flood the midfield.
Yeah, Necrons love midfield, that's for sure.
Well, Necrons are kind of unstoppable right now. Like,
Uh,
I'm
Yeah, boy.
hesitant to say if there's anything that can beat a good Necron list at this point.
Goth is the new
Good
melta.
guard list.
I think Guard can do it.
Another good Necron list.
Yeah, basically.
I don't think
the
that.
My only
Necrons can
weakness-
bring Guard along with them.
I don't
So-
think they're
Thunderfish.
that good. They're certainly good. I think they're the front runners for 6 at the moment. But I wouldn't say, oh my god, unbeatable. Mind you, then there's
Well-
night size spam.
Not literally unbeatable, but you know, if you were talking, you have a 10 or 20% advantage in every matchup. That you may as well be.
Everyone knows
Is
what's
that
unbeatable
true
right now
yet?
is the
How many people have
Draco
actually
Field.
played Necrons?
I have played both of my test games against Necrons so far. It wasn't a great Necron list, but it was still doing an amazing amount of damage.
What were you using?
Okay.
Tyranids?
No, I was actually using my Grey Knights army.
Wine less.
No, serious cheese.
Hang it.
Oh my god.
Well,
I thought I knew you.
Speaking of that,
Well, I
what do
would
we
say that
what do we
if
think
you
the
gave-
changes do to Grey Knights? Since they were the oh my god cheesy army of before, even though they were perfectly fine. Utter
Grey Knights
silence.
didn't change a lot, I don't think. They're essentially still the same army they were before.
Yeah,
Very
I
few
think
of the changes affected them.
I think we'll
My
be going
super
back
stuff
more
it
to their
looks like
roots.
is gone now.
What?
Like
Sorry.
Drago wing and all that stuff.
I think we'll be going more back to the roots. Like when the majority of armies you looked at, you put your Grey Knights and Cybacks, you moved up, you're like, they're extra movement, and now I get an extra bit of firepower from them. And now I'm going to sit in midfield and shoot. They've lost some of their advantages in that, and that rapid fire armies can move up to them and still shoot at half effectiveness, while before they couldn't shoot at all. But I think the general style of the Grey Knight armies, in terms of the hybrid, I move up, then jump out style, won't change.
Yeah, that is
I-
essentially unaffected.
Mm-hmm.
I think we
Like
may
my
see more
Necron
deep
list.
striking strike squads as well.
Hmm.
I feel
Yeah,
like they may have gotten the
buff.
buff this edition,
Yeah.
and they also come in a lot more reliably. Like the big problem with one of my big problems with Deep Strike, at least, was always that it's like, yeah, you're never really sure when they're gonna come in, and it's like
Yeah.
guaranteed turn 4 is nice, but you're probably in by 3 now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I think also a big change for Grey Knights is allies. Oh, hello, Mobile Melta, thank you. I will take that. I mean, that was one of
The
the
ability
biggest
to
problems.
drag cheap troops in without having to use Kodiaz definitely helps them.
That too.
Hmm.
I
You can
think
get your
as
striker
well.
and use all the rulebook powers.
I think all the strength 5 in the Grey Knight army, like that's going to be a sleeper. Like people taking ammunition for their strike squads and whatnot.
Yeah, I think with hull points, strength
That was
5
that was
Storm
good
Bolters is
before
pretty
too,
good.
though.
It was, but it wasn't as a kind of meta choice. It wasn't that efficient considering people were usually running 5-man squads. Whereas now I can see an awful lot more 10-man strike squads and rhinos
Oh,
with a pair of psi cannons and the psi ammo just for torrent, because they can take rhinos down easily with the strength 5, and also the strength 5 is good when you're shooting against infantry.
and particularly with a couple Chief Inquisitors for the reroll psychic power, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The
Guide.
Russians.
It might as well be guide.
Yeah.
Well,
But
it's
you know,
better than
they're
Guide.
what,
Works
55
in
points
melee,
each.
too.
works in combat.
Yeah. And it has a lot.
And it's a Primaris power, so you're not going to roll and then go, oh damn, I didn't get it.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
I don't think
the
the Grey Knight's Librarian ever bothers to switch powers, though. His other stuff is too good.
Can't he have
Oh,
like
yeah.
9 powers though if he switches?
No, he has powers
Actually-
equal to his mastery level.
Which is
Oh, okay.
fully upgraded.
Are we
I think-
sure about that? Because Tyranids, it's however many powers you have.
Yeah, turn into
No,
different.
the Grey Knight's
Okay.
Librarian is specifically powers equal to his mastery level.
Well,
that's
that's
true
good.
for all of their guys.
That's good.
Yeah, because I know Niall can either take all of his Space Wolf powers or trade it in for 2 Rulebook powers, which is kind of gay.
Yeah. But then
Yep.
being able to say, okay, I've got 6 powers, or I'll take 2 from this one, 2 from this one, and 2 from this one. That would be
Yeah.
the ultimate toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the guys who get all the powers when they trade in only get, between 2 and 4, depending.
Yeah, so you don't. But GK have a really nice power list anyway, so just
Yeah.
stick with that.
Yeah, their stuff is so good, there's very little reason to.
Mhm.
Kodiaz usually trades out unless he's facing a heavy melee army.
Yeah, then
but,
Sanctuary is just too good.
Okay, and speaking of movement and Kodiaz, the way that move through cover interacts with difficult terrain on the charge is retarded.
Yes. Already had that issue against Biscuit with Tyranids. But, yeah. I mean, Tyranids were already hurt pretty badly by charging through cover.
Do you mean the way it just does nothing? Is that what
Yes,
we're talking about?
exactly.
Yeah.
It- move through cover specifically has no effect on moving through cover, which
In
would
assault.
seem to defeat the point of, having that ability.
Well, useless abilities are important, right?
Yeah.
like target locks.
Yeah. I like how they totally just removed that for no reason.
Hey, acute senses. Come on.
Yeah, on my crisis.
Reroll all my outflank and battle suits.
Woohoo!
Hell yeah.
That's important.
Well, for when I ally Creed into my army.
Yeah.
To bring it back to psychic powers for a second, if you can take divination as a school, is there any reason not to roll on that for your first power? Because it seems like it just has the best Primaris power, like the best fallback.
Yeah, I'd
It's
The
say.
pretty
only
good.
reason I wouldn't roll on divination is if I had a codex power that I needed to use, like living lightning or tempest fury or hurricane or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Divination is your
it's a
go-to
really good
choice,
power.
but it's not the only choice.
yeah.
I think it
It's
also depends on
got
what you
that good
want
Primaris.
your Psyker to do. I know if I want my Psyker, especially my Rickers, to be more combat oriented, then I'll definitely put Terminator armor on him and either do divination with a combo of Biomancy. I'll just do straight divination. But if I'm having be a more support role, then I'll just stick with the straight up Space Wolf powers, because Tempest Wrath is ridiculous for shutting down a lot of the skimmer armies out there.
A lot of codexes want to stick with their basic powers, I think. Or at
I
least
think
as
it
a default.
depends as well
Yeah.
how it's decided that works. I mean, if you put in your army list, you've got these powers from your codex, from your codex, for example, Living Lightning and Tempest Wrath, and then on a game by game basis, you can either take those or roll for random rulebook psychic powers. And I think
Yeah.
that's the way it works, and I think that works a lot better. But if not,
Yeah.
then I imagine most people will be sticking with their codex powers because it's just too
Yeah.
random.
Now, you
Yes,
take Tyranid,
the-
for example. You got the Turbogon. He loves his Philopane. He's not going to give it up to maybe get Philopane.
Yeah.
But the Hive Tyrant, yeah. Might as well take
Hive Tyrant,
take that
Broodlords,
Biomancy.
absolutely. I mean, the Hive Tyrant,
Yeah,
the only
I
thing you're
wouldn't take
losing.
Biomancy with a Hive Tyrant.
A Hive Tyrant, the only
Really?
thing really you're losing is Paroxysm.
Paroxysm.
But being able to get Iron Arm or
Iron Arm is hilarious on the Tyrant.
Iron Arm and Endurance are both really good. Everything
Yeah.
else is kind of mediocre.
Well, which one
Right.
adds the attacks and initiative?
I don't remember the name of that one.
Number
That was
5.
nice, but you're
It's
already
number-
striking
it's number
before
5.
everyone.
Yeah, number 5.
Oh, that's
Number 4
right.
is basically a better leech life, and number 2 is your -1 strength toughness. So my gaunts are going to reroll their poison wounds against you even more reliably. And
It's
now,
also
Yeah,
got
the
a
minus
24
strength
range and hits automatically and can be used into combat.
yeah. But yeah, I think with the random psychic powers, most people will be going back with their codex powers after a while because it's just too random. I mean, the
It depends on what your Primaris power is
Yeah.
and how many of the other ones you can use.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. To be fair, telepathy, almost the entire table is
Yeah.
awesome, actually.
I think telepathy is a great choice for Tyranids because the Primaris power is very good, and all of the secondaries that you can otherwise roll are also very useful.
I really like the telepathy tree with Imperial Guard with the Psyker Battle Squad because it's silly.
Yeah. It can be
Dirty.
pretty
I love it.
ridiculous. You
Ridiculous
take
is
a
the name of the
Primaris
game.
with telepathy, almost anything you roll on there will make your Psyker Battle Squad absurd.
Yeah.
The
For-
one that removes Fearless with a Psyker Battle Squad is silly because it means you can make stuff like 30 orcs run off the table.
Yes.
For people who don't have the rulebook or don't know exactly what we're talking about, the Primaris for telepathy is Psychic Screech. It makes a unit roll 3d6 and take a wound for each point they fail the leadership test by.
No
Okay.
cover, no armor.
That's
Basically
right.
doing
So
battle pass back.
Fuck you,
So
Doomable
that's a
Anti.
combo with the Psyker Battle Squad.
Well, also like there's a power in there that makes a unit take a morale check.
Yeah,
It makes you take a
Terrify.
morale check and you lose Fearless, but not and they shall know no fear.
And
It's
what's the other one in there that's leadership reliant? What's the other ones? You've got invisibility, the one that what's it called?
Mental
Visibility and
Master.
hallucination, but you basically get to ignore
Dominate.
those.
Dominate is the ability you're thinking of.
There we go.
Yes.
24
That's
inches
attack yourself.
malediction, and you have to take a leadership test every time you try to do anything.
Oh yeah, that's disgusting with the Psyker Belt. So that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it basically takes a unit out of the game with their leadership test. Like,
You are spending 2 different units throwing a psychic power at something to negate them for a turn.
I feel though
Power
it's
that
really
can't
strong
fail.
against things like Death Stars. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Hammer
But
Power
you'd rather
Stones.
get the morale test one and force them right off the board.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a case of there's still options, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
but I
that's
mean,
the strength of
even it-
telepathy. You always roll something usable.
Yeah.
Mhm. And that's
Pretty much.
kind of the nice thing is like you can also kind of decide on a game by game basis. It's like, do I want
Right.
to swap this for the
Psychic
Primaris power?
powers are really flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
even
was
if you're
great.
even if you're just fighting like Grey Hunter spam, having Psychic Screech and Weaken Resolve, that's a hell of a combo against anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
The-
also
the
being
no cover is a real kick in the nuts.
yeah, and being able to have that power that removes fearless that actually makes that sort of army actually viable. In that, oh no, now I don't come up against fearless army, and I've got all these nearly wasted points.
Mhm.
Yes.
Big deal.
I love the
It's
ability
really-
to strip Fearless.
Great for nids or demons.
Well, and just the utility
Orcs
as well,
got to
being, oh look at me, I'm not tar pitted anymore.
Mm-hmm. Throwing that on a squad of 30 orcs and then charging into a fight is going to give them a really bad day.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait.
It would be hilarious.
And I mean, even like the thing with the Psyker Battle Squad is obviously it was useless against things like the Paladin Star with Karamazov or like the Orc Horde or whatever. But now, even if you don't roll the Fearless Stripping power, you do still have Psychic Screech, which still works if you're fearless
Yeah.
because you're still leadership
I may be wrong on this with the new edition, but Karamazov and Stubborn do not let you
Stubborn
bypass.
was for sure.
Well, okay, Karamazov does because he lets you pass or fail, but Stubborn doesn't let you bypass the squad. The cycles.
But I mean, like chances are, the point I was making is against fearless, it's still got a use. Even if you don't
Yes.
roll the strippy fearless power, because you can still cause
Still do
damage.
damage.
with Screech.
Yeah. Paladins might be
yeah,
a
and
bad example for this, though, just because they have really nice Deny the Witch rolls, and as far as I know, the Aegis hasn't changed.
yeah, it's the same.
So
So
it's
that's
just
why I
hard to
think
hit them
that-
with it.
Let's just
I
say
think
not
buffs are
5%.
better than enemy debuff powers because you're not going to have to worry about Deny the Witch. You don't
Yeah.
have to worry about being Ballistic 0 if you're a Tyranid, etc.
Until you kind of
Yeah.
get up against Eldar or Space Wolves, who still get their old psychic denial powers.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
Slash
Thing is
Games Workshop.
against Space Wolves and stuff, if you're taking the kind of buff bot psychers, like, you know, with guide and whatever, that is a 12-inch range. I wouldn't think it's unfeasible to kind of have your psyker out with the 24-inch bubble, considering especially the amount of firepower that like armies like the Imperial Guard or basically anyone who wants to bring divination is going to bring. I don't see it being too difficult to like threaten to blow their psychers off the board if they move them into midfield. I know that was always a kind of worry when I was
I
trying
don't
to
know.
call it.
I mean, independent characters got a lot more durable against shooting, just because it's so easy for them to look out
Yeah.
stuff away from them.
Oh sure,
Um,
but I mean, if you blow their whole
You can kill
squad
the
up
whole
and then
unit.
kill them,
Yeah.
Well, easier said than
Look out, sir.
done.
the solution to all problems: kill the unit.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's an important thing is in 6th edition, people are fragile.
Yeah.
Units are gonna die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that'll be interesting to see what sort of balance is maintained, therefore, between shooting and combat. I mean, shooting got better, but
Shooting got a lot better.
combat's got increased
I'm
threat
iffy.
ranges, and because all those vehicles out there are unlikely to explode now, they're more likely to wreck. There's more terrain to hide behind.
Mm-hmm.
You're still gonna see a lot of explosions, I think. Just the
Depends on the
bonuses
army.
in the chart causing explosions all the time is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think if you're going to start bringing AP2 and AP1 weapons, ranged weapons into the play, then yeah, that's going to start happening.
If you're still massing Melta, sure, but
Yeah.
all the volley stuff.
Yeah, so
almost
Cycle Dreads,
always
Rifle
strips
Dreads,
all
Hive
points off before
Guard,
you roll
anything like
explodes.
that is just going to leave wrecks.
Yeah.
Necrons will rarely get any explosions unless they're using stalkers or war sites.
Yeah,
Or the-
that's
I
all right.
can't
with me.
imagine why I
Well-
would ever use a war scythe.
I know, right? They're so useless.
God, worst
yeah.
weapon in the game.
I'm gonna ride this gravy train as long as I can.
Okay. Here's a theoretical for all you guys. Which gun is worse, the Necron transdimensional beamer or a Grot Blasta?
Hey, I've had a Grot Blast to kill a Demon Prince, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
take the Exile Ray.
I'm gonna have to go with the beamer as being the worst gun in the game.
How theoretical? Like, can I attach a Pharaon to the unit?
Yeah, to your wraiths. Good luck with that.
Yes.
I don't know.
Can Destroyer
It's
Lords
just,
get Pharaon?
I mean,
No.
it's never a
No.
good idea, but
Snap Pirate.
See,
Yay.
there we go. Tactics.
that's adorable.
That'd be great.
I don't think that's the terminology we'd be using there.
Big change would be just you're gonna see bigger squads, I think, overall, but not necessarily bigger in like the wasteful spending.
Yeah.
Big squads that are points efficient, like Grey Hunters, Strikes, Mortals, Warriors, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There
I,
is more of a
I-
reason to take squads that aren't minimum sized. Yeah.
I think there's.
Honestly, I think combat characters got a lot better too.
Combat characters got so much better.
I don't know if we're gonna see the return of like the captain with the jump pack, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was showing up in a lot of armies
Well,
again.
it's
This is
definitely
where
really
Billy
good
needs to
for
jump in with his Necron Lords.
Yeah, I'm
Necron
running
Lords,
a
high five, buddy.
with foresights and stuff. Mostly,
See, I just-
I ran
I
stuff
still
like that 5th edition because, I mean, you've got like the most common units around me at least were things like Blood Angel Assault Marines in units of 5 usually. Grey Hunters tending towards kind of larger units, usually around 8. But sometimes you got the people running like 5 Grey Hunters with a Wolf Guard, or like minimum Marine units, small units of Dark Eldar and stuff. And basically, I found including either a Power Fist with my Grey Hunters, or like a Power Fist with my Blood Angels, or Necron Lords with Warsight would just allow me to beat up on all of those units because people didn't spend points in combat upgrades in 5th edition. I feel it's just a bigger kind of. There's a bigger incentive to in 6th, and an awful lot of people are going to start doing it. I mean, if you look at lists like, I don't know, point to the famous Space Wolf one, which is Copax. he plays on a kind of similar theory in that he runs slightly larger squads for the bigger survivability, and also so they can beat up on other people's squads which are slightly smaller. Like, it makes sense if you think about it. And I like the control of midfield it gives you, because I always feel if I'm controlling midfield, I'm doing a lot to win the game.
Yeah, that gives you sort of the immediate leg up on taking all of the objectives.
And also talking about basically challenge characters or challenge sergeants, they're a very good way to make sure you stay in combat now. I mean, we had this example in Biscuits and I's game last night. Hive Tyrant charges into a Grey Hunter squad, and the challenge is issued between him and the Wolf Guard, kills the Wolf Guard, -1 leadership, much more likely to stay in combat and then not get blasted by 16 or 20 missiles next turn. So being able to...
What is the right choice for that Wolfguard sergeant? Does he accept the challenge or does he turn it down?
I actually challenged.
Yeah, I know, and I was thinking about that the other way
I knew I
around.
didn't have the firepower to deal with him for a while, and I was pretty sure I could hold in combat for 2 more rounds.
Yeah.
If I didn't take a lot of casualties on the charge. So
Yes,
I challenged with the Wolf Guard to just only he can die, and then it did let me get in combat 2 more rounds, and I did take care of that tyrant, so that ended up being the right call.
Yeah, I wanted it to last half a round less.
Want it to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's big thing is I don't know, all this people are going to spend a ton of points on expensive challenge characters, and they can get basically negated for at least a round by your naked sergeant, and I love that.
Yeah, there's going to be again a balance between dropping 60 points into one or 30 points.
I mean, it's kind of okay though, because actually killing the enemy's sergeant, like, it's -1 from the wound, but it's actually -2 because they lose the sergeant's leadership. So it's not terrible.
Yeah, I also think as well it depends on the army. I mean, like, take the example that you had with your game, but if you make it something with more of a kind of extreme difference between your armies. So if you have like a unit of 10 guardsmen get charged by a demon prince, and it's like, well, there's obviously no way I can survive this.
Yeah.
How about I tie him up until his next turn, and you go, right, I'm going to challenge with my sergeant, like your little, 10-point sergeant or something like that.
Yeah.
And, they tie up a demon prince for a round.
Yeah.
They barely lose combat because of the guard kind of, they still get the leadership bubble, don't they?
From like the banner, they do.
Yeah, and like their command squads and stuff, you're not that likely to break.
You only get the leadership bonus from a Lord Commissar, so usually they're testing on basic leadership.
There's also the bubble from the company standard or whatever it's called, lets you reroll.
Yeah,
right. They may get a reroll, but they're not going to get a bonus.
Yeah, I think really a better way to say this may not be like when the Demon Prince charges you, but if you have, say, veterans with shotguns and melta-guns, which are still going to be around, like, you could charge the Prince, and you do all your shooting, you charge him, and then you immediately challenge. And so he just kills your sergeant. You probably stay, and then he finishes you off in his turn, and he's open for shooting.
Yeah, you want to, when you are going to lose the combat anyways, you want to work the challenges so that he comes out of combat in your turn. Well,
and that's always a risky call.
But... Yeah, but when you're charging and trying to pull your punches, you want to stay in combat for the next opponent's turn, but come out again in your turn, so you get another movement and assault.
That's actually a beautiful way to pull your punch if you know you're going to lose that challenge.
Yeah, like if you have the option, it's another layer to add to combat, make it more complex, more things you can do, instead of just, hey, I'm here, dead.
And continuing on with pulling the punches vein as well, being able to multi-assault and basically not get the charging bonus is also a very nice way. If you're going to do overkill anyways, assault an extra unit or two, even though it's more difficult.
You probably will if you're multi-assaulting.
Yeah, and then you just
love that.
And you just sit there and you're like, oh well, next turn I'll come out again.
Eating up a lot of Overwatch shots can be pretty ugly, though.
Yeah, that is the problem.
Mostly you're going to be multi-charging a vehicle of some kind, like unit and its transport or whatever.
Well, remember they get to shoot out the top hatch if you charge a vehicle, though.
And vehicles,
if there's dudes in it.
And vehicles now count for combat resolution.
2 shots from the top of a rhino.
Well,
depends on how you roll for assault.
Chimeras with a bunch of meltas inside, or like open-top transports with a bunch of Dark Eldar and Necrons, stuff like that.
Yeah, but I mean,
or a Chimera with 4 flamers in it.
Yeah.
Don't multi-assault that.
Dudes can be a huge difference between making your charge and not making it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I think that's where fleet becomes relevant, if not as good as it was.
Yeah. See,
The idea of 30 gaunts tying up an entire gun line with a multi assault with awesome fearless. That's always fun.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And Chuck Feel No Pain on to
Large
make sure they survive.
squads of expendable guys are definitely going to be back.
Yeah. See, I'm leaning a lot more to shooting in 6th edition because I hate random dice.
Yeah.
So I don't want to deal with an army that has to rely on charge rolls.
In
Right.
essence, shooting's the same. Shooting's a bit better because cover is now on average 5+. I mean, there is night fighting to deal with, but the majority of armies have something to deal with that. Black Sun Filters, Searchlight, Solar Pulse, you name it. There's something there. Night Vision. And what else has changed to shooting in general?
Well,
It's
honestly,
easier to
I think
kill
the biggest change is I think we're going to see a lot more close range shooting than we have in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only really long range support piece that's really durable anymore is the Lehman Russ that can lay down big templates.
Predators
Yeah,
as
the
well.
Doomsday
Everything
Archer.
else is just Doomsday Arc.
Predators,
Yeah,
Doomsday
Yeah,
Arcs,
I
all
think-
that stuff is
no, I don't think the
Archers.
Predator's nearly as durable.
I think
It's
anything
hard to do.
AV
everything is less durable.
everything
Yeah,
it's not
AV-13
dark.
that can stay at range, I think has generally improved in durability unless someone can bring mass strength 8 or 9 firepower to bear on it. So like
Artillery
Vendettas.
is way tougher now.
Yeah.
Right. What
Thunder
I'm saying
Fires.
is, I think a lot of people hear buff to shooting and they immediately think artillery lines in the backfield, and I don't really think that's gonna work.
No, a static gun line is not going to work.
Artillery is really good now because of the way Barrage works.
Right.
The ability to selectively place your casualties is very strong. That doesn't necessarily mean you're only going to see artillery, though.
Yeah.
I mean, really, only Guard gets it.
Yeah.
Or
I
kick
don't.
guns.
My point is, I don't think we're gonna start seeing those 6 basilisk armies.
We're
Something
not.
like
What
that.
we
I've
won't
heard some
see
people
is
say.
what we saw in 4th edition with the static gun line. I don't think static is going to work. Shooting may still be just as good, if not better, but you still
Especially now
need
with flyers.
you still need that mobility. And the majority of the missions, even if they're really bad, there is a focus on objectives in midfield.
Yeah.
6th is a much more mobile game than really even 5th was.
Yeah.
We'll get the change to rapid fire. That's all you need to see.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And snap firing guns on the move. The fact that you can trot those Devastators 6 inches and throw some shots off still.
Well, it's pretty damn reliable the way Biscuit rolls.
Also,
Yes.
the change to rapid fire. You can just shoot
Yeah.
at full length all the time. I mean,
Chummy
I know
just
no
said
one really
that.
thinks about bolt guns, but that's actually
Yeah,
a pretty big
there's,
deal.
there's no penalty to not moving with your rapid fire
Yeah.
guns.
It's
It adds up.
Yeah, it's what we
Oh,
were
yeah.
saying before about Grey Knights. I mean, before they had that 24-inch or 30-inch threat range, and you were not being shot back by rapid-fire armies. Now they are being shot back. It's, only, it's 9 shots from a squad, but
Front
Those
rank
9 shots
fire,
add up.
Second rank fire.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
you kill a guy or two each time.
yeah,
and-
fire orders
and-
love it.
And someone clarify for me, because I don't know. Can you front rank, second rank 2 shots at 24 now, or is it still
Yes.
just 1 to 24?
Yes, you can do 2. You can do
Okay.
You add one. To your
Las
shots,
Guns, the best
so-
flashlight ever.
Mhm.
Yeah, why not? Also, you got.
But then again, the giant infantry blob got pretty nerfed with the advent of focus fire and the way you can pick out characters now with
Oh, yeah.
snipers and such. So I don't know how much of a concern that's really going to be.
Yeah, well, the change to the
Splinter
cover
rifles,
system
pretty relevant.
is huge.
always bet on Duke with his 3-up splinter rifles.
Yeah.
Just get Doom. Or Misfortune.
I don't know. I think honestly, in 6th edition, snipers are still pretty overrated because I feel that, realistically, see if you sit and work it out, you're not that likely to kill any kind of character
Yeah.
with a bunch of sniper rifles unless you're rapid firing death marks.
Yeah, I think
Right.
death marks are probably the only one that we'll see commonly. I mean, look, you want to buy 10
Rangers
Pathfinders.
too, maybe.
Yeah, but as small token squads, if you pay 200 plus points for 10 sniper rifles, be my
Oh yeah,
guest.
no way.
But
No, you're
uh,
not seeing the big ones, but you are those 5-man squads of scouts that were sitting on an objective before are
They're now-
contributing something to the game.
yeah, slightly more
Yeah.
than before. But
Also,
yeah.
Tellian got a lot better, just as a
Yes.
random aside.
Yeah.
It's
His
now that
squad's always running 5-up cover at the worst.
well, he was always
Yeah.
good.
and usually 3 up. It's really nice that the camo cloaks are +1 to cover now, and you get the squad stealth, so that stacks.
Yeah.
One
Nice
of the
little
things I
stealth
really
buff.
like.
The
Huh?
Tech Marine can reinforce any terrain piece.
And
Yeah,
repair
it's
hull
about time.
points. Woo!
One of the things I really like about the guard blob, though, like in this edition, is with a focus on midfield. I feel guard do probably need more staying power, especially with cover getting nerfed. I don't think veterans is going to be enough anymore.
Well, that's what
I
you
could-
ally in Terminators.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is where allies come in right
With
away.
Yarrick.
But I also quite like the move. Like you can, you only count as moving if you actually move yourself for blob squads.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
heavy
you
weapons
can
can
hold
stay,
the dice
shoot,
still.
and everyone
you
else
just
can
have a
move.
little conga line going back to the backfield where your heavy weapons are.
Yeah, that is a very nice move. Because like, if you've got, 1 or 2 heavy weapons who can't see in, say, Long Fang squad, they can move snap fire. The other 2 or 3, they're fine to fire.
Yeah.
Just, again,
Yeah,
that added mobility factor is pretty big.
Yeah.
With your divination psyker, you basically have better orders for your heavy weapon teams.
All guide,
Yeah,
go.
I mean, I'd be surprised not to see the Primaris showing up all the time in guard lists now.
He's badass.
He really is.
At the same time, Creed can give, 4 of those, while a Psycho can give 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
Creed
a big
is
limiter.
More expensive than
English
2
is 7.
Psychers.
Is not
Yeah.
that
Well,
reliable.
70 points for a single reroll. That's useful, but that's not blow you out of the water.
I mean, keep in mind you can also use it on tanks.
Yeah, you can use it for everything.
Well-
not just the
tanks
weapon
don't
teams.
benefit from it as much.
Did I read correctly that Blast no longer get a reroll if they're guided?
What
Hmm?
don't?
Do Blast still get a reroll?
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
They
They
do? Okay, cool. I misread that then.
Reroll helps flag
Yeah,
against flyers.
I quite like the Manticore with
The Manticore's amazing now.
Parking lots, don't parking lot.
Yeah, don't fucking
Well,
against
the
guard
fact that
ever.
it also lays huge numbers of instant death wounds onto
Uh-huh.
guys with
Yeah.
Barrage and AP4, it just like any non-marine army just vanishes to a mana core.
Mhm.
The Griffin
Which happened
is still
before.
really good.
Yeah.
Better now,
Yes,
actually.
it suffers from the issue that it's good at killing everything that isn't marines, which is nice, but what you really need to do is kill marines.
You think we could see
Then
more?
2
Like,
to wound, it's not that bad.
do you think we
It's
could
not
see
bad
Colossi?
against marines. Wounds on 2.
That's
it's
okay.
What, Billy?
Do you think we could see Colossi, like the strength 6 AP3 ignores
No.
cover?
The
Yeah.
reduction to cover means that it's not needed.
Yeah.
How much is that thing? Is it
A
not
lot.
like?
Oh, it's way too much.
Is it?
130, 140, something like that.
Oh jeez, no. Okay.
Yeah,
never mind then. I thought it was like
it's-
around
yeah.
100.
You can
No.
buy 2 griffins for the price of a colossus.
Yeah, screw that.
And do
All about Devil Dog
similar
now,
wounds.
baby. Devil Dog #1.
Sometimes I'm not sure if you're joking or not.
Oh, actually, this time I'm not, because it's got the Melted Blast, it can fire 2 at 12.
The
Take it.
the devil dog is not
No,
a
no.
bad choice. I
It wasn't a
think.
bad choice before. It was
The
maligned
problem is
because...
it's still competing with the vendetta.
Yeah.
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 Something Guard are going to see a lot more of is that they're going to need longer range Melta, because their Melta bunkers aren't going to be as
Exactly.
huge a threat range.
Will they though? Won't they just take more vendettas? Because
Well, you can only take 3. I mean, 3 squadrons.
Well,
3
6
squadrons of
2K.
3.
Well,
Yeah,
But-
we'll see how that works out.
I guess that moves us nicely into flyers, but what's going to happen with the next couple releases? Would we be surprised to see Chaos, Dark Angels, Eldar, or Tau get something that's like, I trump your flyers, something significant?
honestly, I'm gonna throw this out here right now. That Chaos Dragon is just gonna swipe flyers out of the sky.
Hmm.
I think
I have no idea if that's actually true, but I'm calling it.
I think flyers are going to be one of those things where we have kind of an arms race with them, and as folks kind of figure out the rules, figure out how to counter them, and like more stuff comes out. Like if we're going to get erratas for Skyfire missile launchers, flak missiles, that kind of stuff as it goes. It might be tricky the first few months, but as books come out and errata come out, it'll probably stabilize. Cause
If they come out. I mean,
I won't be surprised if starting with the Dark Angels that all Marine Devastator squads start getting the
or all
flak
missile
ammo.
launchers get flak. But
Yeah,
in
that doesn't
reality,
solve the retroactive problem. Though.
yeah. In reality,
I mean-
every codex just needs 1 unit, maybe 2, to be FAQ'd to have Skyfire, and that fixes the problem.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
I
make
still feel. See if I run my Necron army with 9 night sights and you've got 3 units of Devastators. Like I
Yeah.
feel I could just turn them off the board when my flyers come in. Like, or if not all of them, like you'll be left with like what 3 missile launchers, and they're not going to take down 9 flyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem right now.
I think it's that flyers are kind of an all or nothing mechanic. That's
Yeah.
the core issue.
Yeah.
It just depends how
Um,
the balance ends out. Like
Yeah,
if something,
I'm actually word on the street is that we're getting more flyer releases. Like we're not done with our quote summer of flyers
yeah,
or whatever
which
the hell
wouldn't
it
be
is.
surprising.
But I'd like to see more ground emplacements and just more stuff with interceptor.
Yeah,
Because like
Yeah.
like 9 night sights or 3 vendettas, that's scary. But just one of them actually isn't that bad.
One of-
Like
yeah,
the damage
like a
output on
handful.
flyer is
No.
less than just flying around.
Yeah.
Especially since it's
Like,
probably only
getting-
shooting every other turn.
Interceptor isn't even that bad. You give up a shooting phase to do it, you might as well give it to everybody, or at least
Yeah.
a lot of units can have it.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
it's only really crazy when it's combined with Skyfire.
Yeah. Well, it should be combined with Skyfire.
Yeah, the problem
Yeah.
is that Skyfire is an awkward rule because it is both a bonus and a penalty.
yeah. I mean, you look at Hydras. No one's going to take them anymore.
Yep, poor stupid Hydras.
I mean,
Maybe
if
Bob
you can
Nine.
turn it on or off, that's fine.
Yeah.
But only having Skyfire means, oh, there's no flyers. Well, yeah, I guess I get it 1 or 2 hits every round. Good thing I paid 150 points for that unit.
As a Necron player, I think flyers are totally perfect.
As a Necron player, you want things to stay exactly as they are now. I'm
And then
sure.
I'll pop a solar
Oh,
pulse
that'd
for
be
extra
fun.
night fight.
We're all gonna have fun together. With my night sight.
That's- Yeah.
Alright, guys.
Sure
Well,
that a command barge can shank a flyer out of the sky.
True.
Yes.
you can chariot up there.
Which I love because that's just so metal. That's so 40K.
Ironically, he can't assault them.
It's
can,
it's just so
fake
cinematic,
assault
though,
them.
guys.
Can't
It's so
feel it.
cinematic.
He gets a power pole and just shanks it. Whatever comes out, he can charge it like a pinata.
Candy.
Yeah.
Candy amidst piles of squishy flesh.
I don't know. Like I'm worried about flyers. That's my big worry for
I
sixth at
think
the moment.
flyers are the biggest problem with 6th edition, is they didn't do enough to balance them out. Everything
Biggest
else...
problem
At
is
least out of the
Maybe.
gate.
Again, I cut 1 or 2, 3 for an army, not an issue. It's when you get, 6
Nine.
night size, 3 death
Yeah.
death size.
You could have said the same thing about transports in 5th. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not a problem if there's only 3 of them. It's like, well, no one brings 3. You bring
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
But yeah, if something comes along that in some way limits those sort of like mass flyer armies, like if there's something that's just so silly that you're not going to take 20 flyers
you
because
could
it's just
just
going to
only
shoot them all
one
down.
list, too.
There is one limiting factor on flyers right now, and that's that if you don't have models on the board, you lose. Which means that if you're going second with a flyer army, you need to have enough presence on the board that you cannot just fail immediately to another shooting force.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
like take the Kron army I've been kind of championing lately, which it only has 5 night sights, not 9. But
Only.
Yeah.
You say-
it's still got about 60 like toughest 4 3+ Necrons starting on the board, as well as like 2 small units of Scarabs and a unit of Wraiths.
Mhm.
I feel it still has enough of a flyer presence for it to be a huge detriment to anybody who doesn't bring like 3 units of AA. And even if you do bring 3 units of AA, if I can get to them before my flyers, or well, on turns 1 and 2, chances are they're not going to be in the board when the night sights come in.
Yeah.
So
Or
turns
even when
50
the
Necrons
even
is
when the
easily
night size come
survivable.
in, they can alpha strike those units.
Yeah, so I still
Yeah.
feel that the list is really like kind of silly.
No, it's unreasonably strong, but most people who are imagining how horrible it is are building it wrong.
Yeah. Also, just looking at the way the flyer rules work, it's hard to line up shots turn after turn with flyers. Like,
Yeah,
you're
you're
not
gonna
just
get
going to be
2 shots out
strafing
of 3
valuable
turns.
things every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the limited movement and the force movement is going to be a big limiter.
At
I
least still we
feel
get vector dancer flyers.
I feel honestly like it's going to be a case of you're going to get to shoot what you want one turn, then shoot something else the other. I think that's one of those moves. Like I don't know if any of you guys have ever played Gothic, but it took me a while to get movement down in that. But once you get it
Gothic's
down,
awesome.
it's a kind of like you know it's fine. You get used to it.
Yeah.
I think it's just
I
going to be practice with flyers.
I think Necron's Sideshow what they could do in Gothic. That would be awesome.
Ugh.
Oh,
Let's
hopefully
not
the
make
extra
Necrons
D6
like they are
plus
in
10.
Gothic.
It's
What happened to
fluffy.
Gothic?
Tommy's just a
Everyone
fanboy.
dies when Necrons show up.
The way to win Necrons is basically kill one ship, then disengage your whole army, because otherwise, like
Yeah.
Necrons do win the battle, because their ships are so powerful.
Oh.
Basically, in Gothic, you have force mobility and certain limitations, and Necrons basically ignore all of that. And their ship's really strong.
Although the thing is, like, if you play the game in a kind of I'm here to win, Necrons aren't hard to beat because it's literally kill one ship, then disengage everything that you own, and you win. Because Necrons ships are worth more victory points, like than their cost. Because Gothic goes by a victory point system. So, like, say your ship's worth 200 points. If you kill a Necron ship, it would be worth 600 victory points. Which is how the game's balanced. So if technically like you killed an entire Necron army and left them with left the Necron player with one ship, by the time they'd killed everything of yours, you would still win. But the easier way to do it is just kill one ship and then disengage everything, which ends the game on like turn 3 or something, but you win.
Oh,
So
well,
yeah. That's what they get for playing Crons.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we should get back to 40k.
Well, no, on that note, I
Yeah,
think we'll
okay.
wrap this up. That was a nice 45-minute conversation. And finish on a very random topic of Gothic, but whatever.
Mhm.
Awesome. Everyone should play it.
We'll dedicate 3++ to that from now
Just
on.
not against Necrons.
Crons
No,
are
it's
fine.
Necron on Necron all time.
Yeah, in 40k and Gothic.
Yay!
Anyways, guys,
My dreams
thanks for
were
listening.
realized.
Hopefully we'll be able to get a few more of these up as we learn 6th edition individually and collectively as a group and pass that information on. Thanks for listening.
You're welcome, Internet.